Hey guys, Puzzles with Elite Ladies here. Why puzzles? That's the puzzle. We're going to run straight into this next video for Final Fantasy XIV on Realm Reborn because it's so jam-packed with all this information that I want to make sure you guys get it all. So we're actually going to switch things up today. We're going to start with our comments because the comment for this week was so related to what we're going to be talking about. Acid1981 says, nice video. I just want to add that you can also do fates for experience and there's also guild hests. They definitely did a good job of giving us many ways to level up. Thanks for your comment, Acid1981. It actually directly coincides with some of the things we're going to be talking about today, including the Fate and the Guild Head system. So it was a really exciting week in the 2.0 beta because I got to do all kinds of awesome things with my 1.0 character since it was open a few more days than usual. We got to go ahead and get a pet bomb, meet Anne Hathaway, defeat a freak, help Biggs and Wedge save the tiny Bronco from imminent destruction, and even see how Parm and Palom actually grew up to be scene kids who follow me to all three of my own funerals and are the only ones to point out, hey, why are we bothering to have funerals for people we can't even remember in 3 different nations? So, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of that awesome stuff that happened today. It's been an awesome few days of beta. So today we're going to be talking about the things that you really care about in terms of your MMOs, such as crafting and gathering, the battle system, and whatever kinds of things I feel like talking about in between. So when you start 2.0, you have to choose from a list of classes to start off with. Those classes eventually leads to the job that you're more used to. So in that list, it's divided between the Disciples of War, which are your melee type jobs, and Disciples of Magic, which of course are your mage jobs. Then you also have Disciples of the Land in Hand, which are your crafting and gathering jobs, but that's a whole other thing later on. Now don't forget, the class that you start off with determines which nation you're going to start off in. Whether you're going to start off in Olda, which is the Desert City Nation, Limsa Lominsa, which is the Sea City Nation, or Gridania, which is the Happy Tree Hugging Nation. Alright, so let's talk about the system for getting yourself armored up for battle too. Now, in this game, because there are so many classes, and like I talked about last time, you have so many options for leveling, you're going to want to make sure that you're armored up for all your classes, and you're going to want to have different classes at the same time that you're leveling up and using and playing with. So, for those of you who've probably played these games in the past, you know that to change jobs and the armor related to those jobs, oftentimes you've needed to set macros. Here's what I have to say to macros. They are a waste of time because you have to go in, make sure that you have every letter absolutely correct of that piece of armor set in the macro to make sure that you can do it. And okay, I just call it a waste of time. It's not really a waste of time in those games because it helps save you time in the long run between changing jobs. But in 2.0, that issue is completely solved by gear sets. The gear set system is a system which enables you to set up your armor the way that you want it for your character at that level, save into a gear set, and then once you access that gear set list, change jobs very quickly at any point in time. It's also a lot quicker to be able to change a piece of armor in case you level up or want to change something up. Say you get that artifact armor, you get something really cool that you want to have on that set. All you have to do is just go into your inventory, replace it, and save the set again. No more typing it out, no more macros, no more of that mess. Alright, so let's talk about the stuff that you really want to talk about, using the battle system. Now let's talk about getting your character battle ready by setting their abilities. As in the past, you go ahead and you go into your actions and traits and set your abilities onto the slots in the areas that you want them. In this case, you have a hotbar, which has 16 slots available to you. Now how do you access that hotbar? I'm going to talk about it using a controller because that's what I typically use. So I have my controller here, and as you can see in the picture, I have my hotbar with my 16 slots with abilities set in them. Now, on each side, there are 8 abilities that I can access at any point in time. I access them by using my right trigger and my left trigger. So let's say that I have Cure set as on the right side and on the A slot, and I need to cure somebody really quick. Hold down the trigger, press A. Hold down the trigger, press A. It's that simple. The way you're probably going to start off the battle system is you've likely gotten a quest from somebody who's too lazy to buff up and go take care of a problem themselves, so they send you to do it. So you mark over there, follow the little marker on your map that makes it really easy to find, and you see a mob. So you get started by, of course, targeting said mob. Now, when you actually engage the character, you may find that compared to past games, the battle system goes a lot faster. For example, you have the option to choose the ability to auto-attack. If you choose that ability, you'll just start randomly attacking this thing. And it's going to go a lot faster than some of the other games that you may have played from Final Fantasy in terms of MMOs in the past. And you also get to choose which abilities you want to use right away. And what's also even better from last games is the technical point system, or TP, actually fills your bar when you start the battle, unlike having to build that bar up and have to wait to use all your awesome abilities until the end. So if you just want to go and knock something out really quick for the purpose of your hunting log or for the sake of the quest, then you can just pick the hardest, fastest thing that you want to use and set it out, kill the thing, and be done with it. So it's actually a lot easier and more user-friendly for all of us, especially those who want to be more efficient in their gameplay. When it comes to certain spells and things, the recast time is not nearly as long as it used to be. In fact, in a lot of cases, it's pretty much just about 10 seconds, rather than, for instance, having to wait 2 minutes for a raise and all of those different options. As Final Fantasy XIV or Realm Reborn is an MMO, that means that you can't necessarily be antisocial and succeed. But what happens if you want to fight in a dungeon and nobody else you know does? How do we solve all of these problems? With the Duty Finder. Using this tool, you register to participate in the dungeon, and the game itself hooks people up with you who have the jobs that you need to play with. For example, you're probably going to have a tank, a healer, and 2 damage dealers going with you in the earlier levels. So it makes it really simple to get started in a party very quickly. It's less of a wait time, it's less waiting around. If somebody DCs or you lose them in the middle of a dungeon, you can just get somebody thrown in there right away, ready to go. So let's talk about a couple of the cool things that happen once you get set up with your party. For example, the limit break bar. You as a team build up your bar by how awesome you do things like healing somebody who's near death and those kinds of things. And then once it's full, depending on what's needed at the time, you get to use that ability and help save the entire team. Now, the other cool thing too is what to do when you get loot, because there have been many times when loot's gotten ripped off or just things like that that kind of get annoying with MMOs. 2.0 gives you the option to choose between need, greed, or pass. So once each character picks something, then it's determined who rolls for what and who gets it. So of course, if somebody needs an item, they're going to have more priority than somebody who wants it to be greedy, or of course somebody who's passing it. Now, if you are going to choose need when you actually mean greed, you are a horrible person.
The pinnacle of douche done. Good going douche. Your dreams have come true.
But it's really cool that they try to resolve that issue anyway. Now, when gathering in this game, it's much easier because all you do is you choose the item that you want to get, start hitting the tree or hitting the rock, hoping that you're going to get it. And if you don't, lame. But if you don't, you're not going to get a bunch of stuff that you really didn't need that's going to take up your inventory and get really annoying. Now, crafting, it makes a little bit more sense than it did in 1.0, but it still has some stuff going on with it. For example, you still get that little light in your item, which before Square wasn't quite willing or able to explain what the light meant as it changed, but I'm thinking that they're keeping it toward the stability of the item. So if you have a white light, your item is doing very well. If it's yellow to red, it's getting a little unstable, but it's still doable and willing to make it. And if it's now a little black light, that probably means that your item's very unstable and it's about to blow up in your face. Which, that's something else that always bugged me, because I have never sewn something and had to blow up in my face when I messed it up. It just looks stupid. I mean, really, can you imagine if I'm just sitting here, you know, with my craft, I'm just sewing along, oops, made a mistake. No, that doesn't happen. This is not going to blow up in my face, but once again, it's Final Fantasy, and I also don't need crystals to do my cosplay either. So, welcome to the world of Final Fantasy. Alright, so that is a very basic overview of Final Fantasy XIV. I know it's been 3 videos long. I know it's been all kinds of stuff, and I know that it's a lot to take in. Just send me some comments. Your comment could be here. I don't care at this point what it is. Just anything about Final Fantasy XIV would be pretty cool. Now that we're done with talking about Final Fantasy XIV, doesn't mean I'm done with my videos. Unfortunately for all of you, no. I still will be doing them. But what are we going to talk about? Well, I'm actually going to start by talking about something I've been doing since I moved, which is making sure to do one new nerdy activity a month. I tend to notice that with different aspects of nerddom, I tend to get locked into a certain area of that for a very long time, and it results in me missing out on a lot of other awesome areas that I could be enjoying. And so there are certain things that I've missed out on over the years that I feel like I shouldn't have, and now is my time to catch up on those. So what does that mean for you guys? You guys get the puzzle's newcomer's perspective on, depending on what it is. So, and in some cases I might do a 10 things I learned from like I plan to do next month. So what's it going to be about next month? I want you to guess from the following photos.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell is the matter with you?
That's right, we're going to be talking about my newcomer's perspective on 10 things I learned from classic Star Trek. Now, I'm just talking the episodes. I've started on some of the movies, but unfortunately, because this is a monthly thing, I've also gotten caught up in the other things that I'll be talking about in the future videos, and I just need to make sure I stay on track with that. I'm going to be popping in movies every so often and trying to catch up on those. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that at least for now, my 10 things I learned from the newcomer's perspective should be pretty sufficient. So keep an eye out for that. I hope you guys are a little bit excited about that. I know I am. And we're going to go ahead and close it out from here. Once again, please give me some comments below. And remember to always be legend, wait for it, dairy.